Hi friends, in this video I'll talk about some of the differences between Scrum Masters and Agile Project Managers. The intent of creating this video is to help Scrum Masters identify how they can improve the role which they are playing at and how they can add and contribute to the business more in general. So in this video, we'll talk about the 7 main differences between how Scrum Masters operate today and how Agile project managers operate in the services and product industry. The key difference between the Scrum Master and an Agile project manager role is essentially in terms of the ownership and accountability. A Scrum Master in the industry today typically operates closely with the product owner, and the product owner in turn then works very closely with the customer. This essentially means that the Scrum Masters are acting as project coordinators, and they act as a bridge between the product owner and the delivery team. Whereas Agile project managers work with the product owner and the customer in equal measures. They drive plans and change management with the customer by leading it from the front. Agile project managers take accountability of deliverables and help run the project as a well oiled machine. Moving to the next key difference, this is how well they understand the business context. A Scrum Master would have typically a limited business understanding and the understanding of the business context, what problem is being solved, what is the background of the project, and what business KPIs would be impacted as an outcome of the contract being delivered. Scrum Masters are also very focused on their individual tracks, and thus the visibility is limited to the business context of their tracks only. On the other hand, an agile project manager would try and get an understanding of the overall business context and how multiple project tracks come together to address the business KPIs for the customer. Agile project managers also collaborate strongly with the other project managers on other tracks and try to get a holistic understanding of what the project is all about and what business KPIs as a whole will be delivered to deliver additional value to the customer. As we all understand, the delivery software delivery today is not only about delivering the contract but adding the value to the customer and having a very strong understanding of what KPIs the customer is trying to impact as an outcome of this project. The third key difference between a Scrum Master and Agile Project Manager is in the area of the technology stack. A Scrum Master has a limited understanding of the technical stack and decisions which went behind the technical stack. They also consider technology stack as something which the technical architects and team leads are in control about. Whereas an agile project manager would try and understand the logical architecture of their track as a whole. They would ask questions and debate with their technical teams on the technology decisions being taken and how the technology stack being supplied addresses the contract and addresses the scope of what is being delivered to the customer. The fourth difference between the Scrum Masters and Agile project managers is in the area of estimation and planning. Scrum Masters have a limited understanding of the various estimation models which exist and which model has been applied and for what reasons. Scrum Masters typically depend upon product managers and their own managers for the creation of the release plans and milestones. Agile project managers, on the other hand, understand the various estimation models and the suitability and applicability of a specific model being applied to a project. An agile project manager will use the scope, quality, cost data to come up with a feasible release plan and milestones and then debate with the product owners and the team in terms of how further it can be iterated and improved upon. Understanding of non-functional requirements. As Scrum Masters would focus on functional requirements largely and would leave the non-functional requirements to the tech team to address. Scrum Masters don't usually explicitly plan for non-functional requirements and therefore face poor outcomes specific to NFRs. Agile project managers, on the other hand, understand what NFRs are to be delivered for their project. They will make sure that the plan is in place to address the NFRs and they exist either as acceptance criteria within the user stories or they have been set up as separate user stories themselves. The sixth difference is the RAIDs, which we understand as risks, assumptions, issues, and dependencies. Scrum Masters would focus on documentation and reporting of risks, and they would have limited sources to identify RAID items. They often don't mathematically quantify the risks and don't use advanced tracking mechanisms and tools to track risks. On the other hand, the Agile project managers focus on mitigation and problem solving of risks rather than just reporting and documenting them. Agile project managers will also try and quantify risks and use them for tracking. They also use advanced concepts like aging of risks to have a better control on them. Lastly, in terms of the status reporting, a Scrum Master would have limited data points to report on to report the status of the project on. Then they typically depend upon Jira or similar tool data to do a status reporting. Scrum Masters are focused on limited stakeholders for status reporting and also typically create unidimensional views only. On the other hand, Agile project managers look at multiple data points for reporting purposes. Also, Agile project managers will create multiple views depending upon the need of the audience and go deep quantitatively and qualitatively to represent the project data. So these were the seven differences, and these have been presented from the point of view of my own experience. These are not sacrosanct, so as to say, and there would, of course, be differences from person to person and from company to company, but this is the general breadth and width which I have seen based on my experience of talking and working with Scrum Masters and Agile project managers over several years. Thank you.